Right, come on. Just got to get this done. Right, so if you don't know who I am, hopefully this is for the members, so they might have a slight clue who I am. But if you don't know who I am, it's Fraser Malcolm, head professional at North Berwick East Links or Glen Golf Club in East Lothian, Scotland. And I am going to plan to do a few garden lessons, the things that I think are the most important aspects of a golf swing and playing golf. And so there'll be some swing stuff, chipping, putting, whatever. But before I do anything, I've got to do aiming. And the net's nearly blowing over, so we're going to have to get through this reasonably quickly. So you have to bear with me, because this is probably one of the least exciting things about hitting a golf shot. But to my mind, almost all the faults that there are, pretty close to all of them, start with aiming. And usually aiming off to the right, but people do occasionally aim off to the left as well. But it's a funny thing, all the tour pros and all the really low handicappers, 0 and 1s and 2s and stuff, they'll all aim really well. But anybody from even a 5 handicap up could potentially be aiming wrong and just making a compensation the whole time. So a good illustration actually of the fact that it never really gets talked about is, I've got this thing from Golf Monthly, which came out this month, and it's all about ultimate iron play. And not once in here, in the whole of this thing, you've got angle of attack, preset for perfect impact, find your rhythm, time irons, find a low. Not once in here does anybody say all this advice that's in here is only applicable if you're aiming correctly. Because if you're aiming to the right, you'll just do what you've always been doing, and you'll either be coming over the top, closing the club face, reverse pivoting, all the stuff that you don't want to do, that hits it short, inconsistent, slices, pulls, fats, thins, everything. It starts because you're aiming to the right, and the reason that it doesn't improve is because you're maybe not going out and actually thinking about this when you're on the golf course, and you just assume that aiming will be correct because you can see the target, so why would you not be aiming at it? But it isn't as easy as that, and the really, really top players are good at it, and they do aim correctly. I've been teaching for about 25 years, and about 95% of people that come in to lessons are aiming to the right. So a sort of example of that is, if the target, say the flag was at about 150 yards down this red line, and there was a flag with a hole, if you, in a perfect world, if you took a perfect shot, it'd follow that line all the way in the air and smash into the flag, and you get a hole in one. But if you're aiming to the right, you still want to hit down this line, but you have to do it in a certain way. So most of the people I get for a lesson will set up, remember they're going for the target down the red line, they'll aim away like that. Now it's in the distance, so it's harder to get right because it's a long way away, but effectively this is where they're aiming, to try and propel the ball down that line. So it doesn't take a genius to work out that you can't do that with a tour level swing. You can't do that with a perfect backswing, a great start down with the legs and move through and late release and turn your body through at the same time as your arms and full follow through, because you will propel the ball parallel to where your body is. So I'll be going at the gymnastics bar there. That's where I would hit that one. If you stick Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy down in that position, don't tell them where to hit, just say hit a shot. That's where it would go, over there. So to get it to go down that line, you don't need a tour level swing. What you need is an out to in swing across yourself and down that line. And to do that, you need to do a bad weight shift. You want to do an arms hit, dominant swing where your legs don't do a lot, because if your legs do a lot on the downswing, you'll do what's closer to a good swing, and it'll go where you're aiming. So you instinctively, subconsciously stop your legs from moving, reverse weight shift that way. All sorts of stuff happens. Closed club face on the way back to try and pull it back to the target. And when you get a closed club face, your arms don't rotate properly, so you end up getting a bent left arm as you get up here. There's all this stuff starts because you're not aiming correctly, because nobody pays enough attention to it. So when you're practicing, you say practicing, but not that many people actually go out and practice. But when you're playing, actually, is a good time to do. If you're not playing in a match, you're not playing in a medal, a good test is to say, right, I'm going to take my position. I deliberately get this wrong, but take your position, say, I'm going to aim as best I can, and then when I feel ready to hit, I'm going to put the club along the line of my feet, and then walk back 3 or 4 feet behind it, and have a look where your feet are going. Because if your feet are going to the right of the target, then your ball is going even further right than that, because it's like train tracks. You are hitting down that rail of the train track and you're standing on the other rail. So in a perfect world, so I should probably move that, that's probably slightly too far away, but so go on the edge of that line then. So I'm standing on the yellow line, but I am hitting down the red line. And that is what I'm trying to do all day long. And if you were to do that with a good grip, with good posture, and a good setup, and good ball position, all those little bits and pieces, but if you were to hit all your shots from this position onwards, your swing would develop in an orthodox manner, a tour type swing. That's why when you go out in the golf course and you look around, probably 8 to 9 out of 10 people don't look like tour pros when they're on the course, because you can't. Because when you're aimed right, you can't do a tour type swing. It just doesn't work. It's of no use to you. So you're actually, if you're not going to take this advice and you're just going to continue to aim right, then just keep doing what you're doing, to be honest. Because, well, I mean, at a push, you could try in terms of a slightly more effective shot in wind would be to hook it back to the target from here, but it's extremely difficult to get right every time. That's why you get some guys like that that'll play off 5-6, and they're aiming right slightly, maybe not as far as that, but they'll go inside and hook it back, and they'll have short swings because their swing has to go in here and it gets stuck. Because if they went any further back up, they'd have to come up and over, and that doesn't work. So they're trying to hook it, it stays short, close club face, and hook it back. But again, judging spin, either way, is more tricky than just trying to hit a straight neutral shot down the target line. So do that test of where are my feet aiming and get yourself parallel. So this is on a slope here. But yeah, just to go over that again, always coming in, looking at the shot from behind it and walking in, trying to place your club down behind the ball, and then imagine a line running through it, get yourself parallel to that. What Jack Nicklaus used to do was he would pick out like a little tee, or you know, might find like a wee bit of shell or something there that's on the line to the target. So when you walk up to it, you think, oh yeah, that little shell's on the way to the target, I'll aim at that, because I can't get that wrong, because it's so close that everybody would get that right. It goes back to the thing, if the target was there, if the target was the Skytrack machine and the ball was there, nobody would aim miles right. Everybody would just go, put the club down, feet going parallel left, makes perfect sense. But when the target gets further away, it's easy to get it wrong, and you think you're aiming at the target because you can see it in the distance. You turn your head and you can see it and you think, well, I'm aimed at the target. So bear that in mind, that any advice I give you in future lessons about grip pressure, how to take the club away, how to move your legs, alignment, posture, you know, body alignment, everything, unless you take this into account, none of it's applicable to you. You're as well just to keep doing what you're doing. If you do this, you've got a chance of going down the path to actually improving things, because, and the reason you want to is this method that all the tour pros swing down and all the good players is the most efficient means, powerful means, most repeatable means of hitting a golf ball towards where you want it to do. You can still hit a perfectly aligned shot from aiming miles right, but it won't happen that often. And what will also happen is on the clubs like the drivers and the long irons, they don't like a steep angle of attack, and what you get when you come over the top is a steeper angle of attack. It creates too much backspin and you'll be rubbish into the wind. Doing it this way, so many benefits. You get to use all your power, you get to use your whole body to propel it forward, so it looks effortless when you're hitting it. I'll try and hit one while the wind's not moving, and you're always trying to swing as though you're going down that line. It is a semicircle around your body, but you're imagining it's a straight line. And if I had done that swing, aiming there, I would have hit it about 6 gardens down the road, unless I pulled across it, which I could possibly do as well. I'm not going to try that in case I get it wrong, but that'll do. As I say, any of the other lessons that I do always comes with a caveat that you have to be doing this first, otherwise they don't apply. Okay, and that'll do for today.